everybody. Jeremy White with Pizza Today magazine. I'm sitting here with the one and only Tony Gemignani, the one and only Michael LaMarca, and the one and only Nick Bogacz. So, guys, obviously we're sitting here on a web platform. We should be getting ready to go to Las Vegas, giving hugs, high fives, catching up at the family reunion known as Pizza Expo. Instead, it looks like we're all sitting in our home offices and just trying to figure this out. Tony, I want to get started with you a little bit because it seems San Francisco may have been hit harder than just about anywhere else in the country. How are you dealing with this?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I think New York has been hit the hardest, and San Francisco's on its way. We've been able to stay open, so I've been working a lot. I'm actually ready to go to work right now. But what's interesting is, you know, I have all these different concepts from a 900 square foot little slice house to 9,000 square foot pizza rock. So all of them have been different. I mean, if you look at it in its entirety, Tony's Pizza's down by 70%. Luckily, I have Slice House next to it that we have to go and delivery. And then you're looking at places that are next to the Capitol, let's say in Sacramento. You're next to Capitol, Convention Center, hotels. It's a ghost town. That's getting killed. And then when you look at like Slice House Walnut Creek, which is kind of suburban in the suburbs, it's only down like 12, maybe 15%. So it's 70%, 75%, 80%, and 15 and 20. So it's like, it's for me, it's been all over the map. The dine-in definitely has been hurting, but I think like all of us, when we're at our all-time lowest, we seem to be getting together and creating new ideas and being more efficient and cutting down labor. And I think the hardest thing for all of us has been is cutting down that labor, doing the layoffs, not scheduling. And it's so unexpected to know what your numbers are going to be. When we shut down in San Francisco, it was like everybody came in the night before, it was slammed, it was like it was, and all of a sudden it was the real deal, and nobody's supposed to come outside other than if you're going to eat, going to get gas, going to the pharmacy, or going to the bank, or getting food. Then it kind of got bad, and then it got a little worse, and then all of a sudden it kind of trickled and got a little better. People can only stay indoors for 3 days, 4 days, especially in little apartments where they're cramped. And we saw like kind of a little more business creep up. And then once in a while, when the president talks or your local governor talks and everyone gets scared again and kind of runs back indoors and doesn't come out. So I think after the other guys talk, we'll really tell you what we've been doing to strategize and be creative to really kind of see how we can hold on and maintain during the next 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, however long it's going to be. So.
Sounds good.
Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, Michael, you're in Ohio, and Ohio seems that, to me, watching the news, seems to me that Ohio has kind of been out a little bit ahead of this, took some shelter-in-place steps a little earlier than a lot of states to try to, quote-unquote, flatten the curve. But what have you seen in your area?
To build on what Tony was saying, you know, the uncertainty of what's going on has really affected our day-to-day operations. But in Ohio, one of the benefits we've had is we've had a very strong governor approach to this, where he immediately shut schools down. I was looking at the calendar. In fact, I was just on a conversation before. About 4 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, schools were canceled. I mean, just next day canceled. And they then shut down the dining room on March 15th. So it's been about almost 2 weeks approaching that. And stay in shelter has been, it seems like almost every week, a certain segment of the working population has been shut down. So it was like a step change to about 2 weeks ago where there no one on the streets. And we've seen in Ohio, I'm looking at some stats, I think we're less than 1,000 cases statewide. So it's done a really good job of keeping everyone in and stopping the spread of this, but it's definitely affected business. But our particular model, kind of like Tony was saying, we have a smaller footprint. We're about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet max. So we're primarily pickup and delivery. So we are down around that 12 to 15% stated earlier. Half our concepts have dining rooms, but those are obviously shut down. So we're managing it. We've reduced our hours. We've opened a little later during the day and closed earlier at night from like 11 to 8, Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday, Saturday. We have the pickup delivery model already in place for our business. So we've been lucky with that aspect of being able to continue almost as business as usual for what we do. Obviously with some influx of new operational safety guidelines or enhanced safety guidelines. So it's been a download of information every day of what's new, what's coming, and what we have to do. So it's been quite the adjustment.
Yeah. Nick, now you've got a large dining component, and a lot of people come to Caliente specifically to enjoy the beer component as well as the food. So I would imagine that this has been really hard on you. How are you dealing with things in Pittsburgh?
So we're kind of like Michael. They went ahead and shut down everything pretty early. Schools, and then it seemed like our Allegheny County was on it before the state was, and then the state came in with a lot of restrictions, and we've lost about 35% is where we're at. You don't know what you're going to lose every day. It's day by day. Unfortunately, we've laid off a bunch of workers. We probably have about 200 employees total, and we probably have close to about 130 laid off at the moment, which makes it very difficult. I think the hardest part for this, I think for me, is for the other guys too, is when you don't have people working. That's where the burden is you feel bad that you're so happy to create these jobs, and then now you don't have the jobs to give all these people. And where do their next meals come from, and how are they going to pay their bills? And that's really the biggest struggle, I think. And nobody knows when it's going to be over. That's the other thing. Like, when will this be over? That's the part that, it was 2 weeks or a month. There's different things you could do for your employees, but when it's going to be however long it might be, you have to worry about making sure you're there when it's all over. Yeah,
that's definitely one of the scariest components to this, is we don't know when normal is going to return. Any of you three can answer this question. I'm curious, with your employees, is it better to terminate them so that they can draw unemployment, or do you just temporarily lay them off, thinking that we're going to be back to business as normal sooner than later? How are you guys approaching that?
Yeah, it's different in San Francisco, and it's different in all the counties or within the cities. San Francisco has been really weird with what's considered sick pay, what isn't, what a furlough versus a layoff. So honestly, even if you're not scheduled, if you lose scheduled hours, you can still try and get unemployment. So that's one thing, that if you have lots of hours, you can do that in certain areas. San Francisco has been very much pro-employee, so they've been throwing in addendums in like that. They've been creating new laws like within San Francisco, and they've just been throwing it in, and you'd read it, and then all of a sudden 3 days later it would be gone, and they initiated something else. So certain employees still are hourly. Some were not scheduled. Some got laid off. So I've had a combination, and we may have had about 380 employees that were in the middle of that. It really depends on your area, and you don't want to do something incorrect where down the line, all of a sudden you're in the middle of something that you don't want to be in. So we've been taking step by steps. We've been talking to an attorney. We've been talking to an HR attorney just to make sure that we're doing things correctly. So that's actually been a challenge, because like I said, you don't want to say something or do something wrong, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of something that you don't want to be into down the line. So
yeah, that's definitely no good. Michael, what are you guys doing in Ohio to try to take care of your employees as best you can in a very difficult and challenging environment?
Well, we've been fortunate where we haven't had to land anyone on yet, or to, as of now, it's been, I haven't, added hours obviously, but we've changed the schedules a little bit to keep people employed and keep people's hours kind of where they were. But as Tony was saying, the laws are very it's in progress, and it's changing, and so we are very aware of what's going on. And there's a I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it's for unemployment, there's a code you can get for this particular coronavirus layoff, if you are laid off, and I think that triggers in a employment reimbursement for the employee and for the company. I think I don't want to misspeak on it because I check out all my notes right here, and that's still kind of like in progress, but it's very gray, and we just want to make sure we do the best for what the employees' needs are at that particular time. And that's why we're really stressing trying to make sure we keep everyone and trying to manage what we are doing every day to keep everyone.
Okay.
It's very challenging right now in that aspect because it's just a very gray area.
Yeah, we've been talking to a lot of. We've been we're waiting for the government to step in and our local city and state officials to really come in and help the restaurants. I mean, so that's one thing that we're all waiting for. I know Michael and I have been on the phone every day almost, just text each other like, have you heard anything, or what have they said, or what does this mean? So yeah, it's one of those things that we almost need Big Brother right now to step in and really help us out, which I believe within this $2 trillion whatever that was help bailout that's a part of it. Is that right, Mike? What you sent me?
So the other day I got the executive summary from the National Restaurant Association of the CARES Act, which is, I'm looking at the news as we speak. I'm waiting for it to get passed like any minute now by the House. It was passed by the Senate and it's being in the House as we speak. The CARES Act is gonna help along the lines of getting financial aid through the SBA to help businesses that have laid off people in this current time period. I think it's like 2-3 weeks prior. I think it's like February it starts. I can't remember the date.
Is this an interest-free loan, Michael? Is that the way I understand it? It's
not an interest-free loan. It has some mechanics in it that kick in when you use that money for payroll expense.
Okay.
So it'll be converted to a grant.
Mm-hmm.
So you take, say, just example, say you take $100,000 loan, and then 75,000 of it is for keeping your payroll as status quo. Okay. Or bringing the people that you laid off prior back on. That 75,000 of that 100,000 will be converted into a grant, and then you would be responsible for the 25,000 to get a 3% rate over 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of benefits that it is employee focused, which helps us keep our people and keep us in operation. It's a very, very complicated. It's 900 pages. This bill, again, I got the summary, the executive summary, which is the things that the National Restaurant Association really helped guide the congressional members put in there with us in mind. So
nice. Are you guys having any difficulty getting product? I'm sure you're requiring less product at the moment, but are you having difficulty getting your hands on what you need?
Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, I was just gonna say, we've been in contact with them. We haven't had too much of a disruptance, but they have cut down their days. And then they took some safety measures too, like leaving the product outside the door and not coming into the stores. But besides that, they've been really good on our end as far as like chain, and they keep letting us know like we're gonna be able to have as much product as you need. And it seems like it's been business as usual for the most part with them.
Nick, what kind of questions are you getting from your customers? Are you getting calls and emails like, hey, we want to support your business, but is the food safe? Are you getting questions like that? Do you have to address food safety concerns more than normally?
I think we are getting more than normal. One of the smartest things we did was as soon as this really started to happen, we were out in front of it with everybody wearing gloves and we put sanitation stations as soon as you walk into the door for customers, for employees, and just getting out there and letting people know that what we're doing to be safe. And I think it really has resonated. You could tell, like, I've been out going to local places when you walk in and people don't care and they just have a place where it seems like it's business as usual. I know for myself, it's like, I'm not going back there until this is over. And then when you do go to a place where their signs are up about social distancing, you're like, wow, I feel comfortable going there. So I think that's the model that we have to have, is we have to have signs in place. And, you know, when you walk in, it says, keep in mind we are social distancing and stuff like that. And then got a lot of nice feedback from when our delivery drivers show up in gloves and do the no contact.
Yeah, we prior to many things being mandated, we took everything off our dining room tables and threw out all the product that was on, like the cheese and pepper, and then we sanitized everything and brought everything out as needed. And then when the dining room was done, we converted cashless operating, where everything's credit card, everyone wears gloves, everything you do is gloves. We sanitize everything every 20 minutes. We have, every 20 minutes we're sanitizing our place, and touchless delivery. Obviously, it's just, you have to do these things right now to keep everyone safe and the operation safe. It's just a new way of doing things. And one of the things that I get in conversations about is like, I don't know how this ends. I don't know what the new norm is. And that's the thing, is it a one day we're like, okay, gloves are off, we're back to normal. But it's that the big concern for me is the light at the end of the tunnel. What's it going to look like when we get through it? Because things have changed for sure.
Right. I have no doubt that there are going to be thousands. This is a dire prediction, but I think there are going to be thousands of pizzerias across the country that do go out of business as a result of this. Those who maybe weren't in a great financial position before this hit are going to be impacted, really, really to the point that they may not reopen. Are you guys seeing that? Or, a lot of you consult, or you just mentor and offer your services and your expertise to people as needed? Are you getting phone calls from people that are saying, look, I'm not going to make it through this?
Yeah. I'm getting phone calls all the time and emails, like just on a daily and nightly basis. So it's incredible times, just because with the way it is in the restaurant business at all, it's already hard enough as it is, let alone you get hit with something like this. It's just, in reality, a lot of us aren't going to be able to come back. You wish they would, but you just got to really not fluff it. And I just got interviewed yesterday by a national newspaper. And I said, look, the pizza industry is going to get hit hard, and the restaurant industry in general, and it's going to be bad for a lot of us. Nobody's going to be able to rebound, and no, not everybody's going to be able to rebound. So it's scary. I mean, some of the precautions that we did. I mean, the first thing I did was I went to my landlord and I went to my primary purveyor. I extended my deferred. Everyone's talking about deferred, and we had our payments deferred from 60 to 90 days on our rent. And then we had our rent. I mean, our payments to our distributor, we asked for 60 to 90 days, and we were able to get that. So, typically we're on 21-day terms or 30-day terms. Meaning I'm not paying for what I paid for. I'm paying for what I bought 21 days ago. So It's always like that. So what's terrible is all of a sudden you get hit and you're down 70%, and all of a sudden you're paying 21 days ago when you're killing it. All of a sudden you're trying to pay that bill, and slowly your bank account gets lower and lower. So I've been able to do a lot of those things to help. And I was trying to tell a lot of operators to do that. I think some of the key points that we've been all trying to work on are ideas. And a lot of us, like Nick especially, and some of the other guys, have been doing pizza kits where you're making pizza at home. But some of the things that we've been running out of was sanitizer. At one time, every company ran out of two things: toilet paper and sanitizer. A couple other things were hard to get at one time were eggs, at least in California. So instead of using that Everclear to make limoncello at home like my wife would, she was making sanitizer at home for little containers. We bring it to work, hand them out, and we're blending Everclear and aloe to make hand sanitizer, because at one time the different companies that would do that were actually 86, and I think that was when San Francisco and California got hit really hard, and everybody said everyone has to close, only to go, you better buy all the hand sanitizer. So that was kind of an issue. Some little things that came up were it's interesting what he said. We're trying to do a touchless orders where people can just pay by credit card. But what Slice House is, if somebody gets in to get a slice and they pay by credit card and you need to sign it, we had a customer in particular complain that, hey, why are you having the same pen being used to sign, each slip? So as operators, we're always like saying, oh, we've always gotten those pens that you'd get. It would say, your pizzeria on it. You'd get them in the mail once a year. You'd maybe invest in it, and you'd give them out to your customers. And then all of a sudden, it would be like one of those investments that, why did I do? Well, now it's like, okay, giving everybody a free pen with your name on it that says 10% off, Pizza Strong. So we're handing out free pens to everyone. We get a glove, we give them a pen, they use it, they bring it back in. And that's a life for that customer that came to us when we were down and out and we needed them to come in. That 10% off any order, they'll get it for the rest of their lives. So there's certain things that we're trying to do to be really creative, other than the pizza kits and frozen dough, is flour. Flour is out at almost all stores. If you ever talk to any flour company right now, their industry is insane. And if you go to a grocery store, they have no flour. So just selling flour to a customer or giving them a 1 pound bag of flour, we're doing that at locations. I talked to Forelli's. I'm gonna call it Forelli's flour. I said, just give it to them the other day. I talked to them about it, and I said, you won't believe how toilet paper, flour, little ingredients, a stick of butter, stuff that you would think like that's so easy to get that you can't find in your store. Even a can of pasta. I gave out some Alta Cucina the other day to a customer, and they were like going crazy. They didn't know what the heck Alta Cucina was, because they were just a consumer. I said, this is the best tomatoes you can have this. And I gave it to them because they couldn't make pasta and get tomato sauce at home. Another thing that we did was, and I don't know the other areas, they're allowing us to sell alcohol to go at a lot of locations, but they're allowing us to have mixed cocktails to go. So we made it into a challenge. I highlighted 3 bartenders, and then we're doing Capos versus Tony's, and we're making these cocktails, and we're bottling them and selling them. And I sold 100 in 3 days, and those are $12 cocktails. And we're selling them, and we almost can't bottle them enough, because we're going on Facebook, Instagram saying, does Ravel have a better cocktail? Nah, Stephanie kills it. And then all of a sudden Elmer's, I'm the best. And when we make it into this challenge, come inside, pick it up, or get it delivered, and all of a sudden now we're selling cocktails like crazy. So wait, if that happens in your area and you're able to do that, booze sells, especially at this time, and they don't care if it's in a little flask that we gave them or a little cup. Nobody cares that it's a fancy glass with a garnish right now. They're just happy, they're healthy, and they can grab a cocktail.
Wow. It's insane, Nick. Look, we're in this prosperous on-demand society, and we've got people asking you for flour or butter. Who would have thought we would ever see this? What a challenge. Nick, can you sell growlers and alcohol to go in Pittsburgh, or is that off the table right now?
So we can sell beer to go, but not hard liquor. So we've been doing growlers. Like, we normally sell a growler for about $25 to $30. So I've got all these kegs sitting around, and this goes on for 2 or 3 months. The ones that are tapped are going to be garbage, basically. So we come down to $19 with the growler glass, and we've been selling a ton of growlers since. And we can deliver them too, which is nice. We have the license to be able to deliver alcohol. So we've been pushing that you can call and just order just beer for delivery. And we've been delivering just beer. The growlers, we're able to sell up to 3 at a time. And we actually have had customers buying 3 at a time. And it seems like it's been better than nothing. And it was good enough that we can put another person on during the day to pour the growlers. So now that, last week where we didn't have any bartenders working. Now we can at least have some of our senior bartenders taking phone orders, taking the curbside delivery out, and then also pouring some beer in between there too. So by adding the growlers at the lower price, it wasn't just moving the kegs, it was also giving a couple people their jobs back, or some hours back at least.
Nice. Michael, hey, they asked us to keep this to about 30 minutes because that's just kind of the attention span of people these days. So we're going to close it down soon, but maybe in a week we could all reconvene and see how things have changed in a week. But Michael, Tony, Nick, thanks. Do any of you guys have any parting shots, something you'd like to get out there before we shut it down?
If one of the things that I've been doing, and I've been calling Tony a lot, and Nick as well, and a lot of my other friends in the industry, just call each other, guys, help each other out, support each other, give answers, give help, give ideas. We're a tight industry. We're all family. We all care about each other. Just relying on one another to get through this. And like I said, at the end of this, we're going to have the biggest party the world has ever seen, man. And just got to stick together.
Absolutely, 100%, no question. Anybody else want to have anything before we go?
I think just to piggyback off of what Mike said, he's right. There's we have so many great friends in this industry. Now's the time to be reaching out and calling them and messaging them. And also, if you're looking through your Facebook, if you're like me, you have so many friends that are in the pizza industry. There's so many good ideas out there that when you're looking through what other people are doing in their restaurants, you don't have to be the one that comes up with anything. You just gotta say, hey, yeah, I think that could work too. And some of it's not having stuff work. It's so much to just letting people know you're open too. Because as the local officials and the governors and everybody changes the rules and goes from shelter in place to stay at home, people start to wonder, like, are you still open? So I think a lot of this is just letting people know that, yes, we're here, we're open.
Yeah, sounds
good.
good.
And I think too is, just any kind of content that can help other operators, I think are important. Like I said, like, don't be afraid to borrow or use or whatever anyone posts. Just do it. You don't need to ask permission for it. And I think that we're all getting creative right now. We're all open. Reach out to us anytime. Just like Michael and Nick said, I mean, we're here to help, and we need to help as well. So we are going to have that biggest pizza party ever when this thing is over, and pizza strong. Let's keep it going.
I love it. Pizza strong. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Like I said, maybe in about a week or so we can reconvene and hopefully start to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you very much.